and welcome. I am Cyril Stober, and I welcome you to this special interview with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Mr. President, thank you for speaking to the NTA.
Thank you.
Well, I'm just thinking to start off, Excellency, you just clocked 79. How does it feel, especially bearing in mind that you have enormous responsibilities on your shoulders as President of Nigeria, a rather complex country?
Yes, I think COVID-19 has come to our rescue in the sense that the amount of people that need to see you can't see you, so that really gives you more time. And about my age, yes, I see my colleagues, they are now resting, and I assure you that I'm looking forward to the next 17 months when I too will have to be less busy. The age is telling on me. Working now for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, flat in the office, is no joke. The questions of executive council, memos from as many states as possible to be considered virtually every week. So really it's a lot of hard work. But as I said, I ask for it and I cannot complain.
So, Mr. President, would that be the reason why, as you marked your 79th birthday, you said you were looking forward, or you can't wait to hand over in 2023 and retire to your farm? Why is that?
Yes, because, look, as you know, I have been a governor. I have been a minister. And I'm in my second term as president. So I have gone through all the system. And really, what else can I do for this country? I have given my best, and I hope after I leave, Nigerians will reflect and at least not show appreciation. I'm not expecting any appreciation, but what I'm expecting is for Nigerians to say, yes, this man has done his best. That's the most I'm expecting from Nigerians. But it's no joke, I'm telling you. Look at what the problem we are having in the southeast now. How many police stations were taken over, weapons missing? We closed the border with Benin, we closed the border with Niger, but we have to accept the reality that the weapons are coming from our own armories. Police stations are being attacked and so on. So our main problem is, I hope I will leave a more secure Nigeria than what it is now.
All right, so Mr. President, that easily is one of the biggest challenges in Nigeria today, the threat to security. And it would seem that the more that is put in, the more complex the situation gets. And Nigerians ask, is the government capable of solving this problem before handing over in 2023?
Yes, the government is capable and is going to do it because members of the security, the armed forces and other law enforcement agents, their own security depends on one Nigeria. So no matter when people are selfish, it's their self first. So even for their own selves, they better stabilize Nigeria, and I believe they will do it. I know we are short of resources. For example, dealing with the militants, if people bother to reflect on how we find the northeast and south, and how much progress we have made, and acquiring helicopters, aircraft, their maintenance, their ammunition, armored cars, to counter effectively the bandits. They cost money and they cost time for training and adaptation.
Let's look at another part of your government's program. Security is just one aspect. The fight against corruption, you spoke a lot about that when you were coming into office. Now, it would seem that with the coming on board of new headship of the EFCC, the fight against corruption has been revamped. How would you rate it for now?
Well, the problem of corruption is a continuous one for a developing country like Nigeria. People have to accept living within their means. As long as people try to live outside their means, so long as corruption will be with us. And the best way is firmness by departments, by ministries, and especially by states. Now look at the local governments. The local governments in this country, the third tier of government, are getting less and less effective. And they are supposed to be the most effective because they deal from the bottom upwards, especially in terms of education, healthcare, which is the basic things for the majority of Nigerians. Educating the people or the children and the healthcare for families and so on. So Nigerians must conserve resources to effectively give education and healthcare to the needy.
It is assumed in certain quarters that many high-profile politicians who are either been investigated or who have been prosecuted for corrupt practices defect to the governing APC with the hope that it might provide them a soft landing. What do you say about that?
No, I don't like to. I don't like to accept that joining our party will check our insistence on accountability. We are very serious that people will aspire to lead at whatever level by their performance, by their integrity, both professional and personal. And but the problem is that we have to work within the system. Even if you suspect individuals, unless there is evidence, there isn't much you can do. So really, it's the system that makes it possible for some people really to even be corrupt.
So you'd say to them that even if they join your party, it does not mean that they will go scot-free if they are found wanted.
They can't. Nobody can go scot-free as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned. Imagine what the opposition could do to me if there is something along my record. A lot of confusion could have been caused. But luckily, I think we try to occupy offices with integrity. And that is the best thing for Nigerian leadership at all levels. Behave with integrity. If that is done, we will achieve better results. If that is not done, a lot of time will be wasted in talking and quarreling and a lot of noise.
Mr. President, let's come to the 2022 budget, which you have signed into law. The figure that was returned to you by the National Assembly was higher than what you proposed. First part of my question is, it's seen as if this is going to cause some disagreement between the executive and the National Assembly, the legislature, for having increased what you sent to them. Can you tell us about that? That is this causing a quarrel between the executive and the legislature?
Well, luckily for us, when I say us, I say this government, we have, our party has a majority in both houses, both Senate and House of Representatives. I think it's understandable that committee leaders, at least, they insist that their constituency must see them to be effective by taking a project to them at whoever's expense. But we looked at the thing globally, Nigeria project. For example, we are trying to get the infrastructure, the roads, the rail, power. Now, if we move a lot of resources towards, it will be certainly at the expense of some maybe village road or something, where people will go to the marketplace and so on. But what bothers them is their own immediate request, not at the national level. So it is the government's problem to try and strike a balance between its infrastructural priorities and some constituencies. Some constituencies, especially those constituencies that really elected members of the government. But those who don't elect us, let them live with their own problem. But they will not be denied. They will not be denied what government ought to do to them, especially in terms of education, health, and some infrastructure. For example, we can't say roads cannot go through a certain town because the town did not vote for us. We can't do it.
Okay, so in this case, it's not just a quarrel. There's no fight over you've increased the budget, and there's no such fight, really.
Well, all I did is I feel to them that there will be less constituency conscious. Let them be more national in their perspective, in their idea of the country.
If I might just take it a little bit further, how do you respond to the feeling that the current National Assembly is perhaps completely under the influence of the executive?
No, I don't think so. As I said, we consider ourselves lucky. Our party has a majority in both Senate and the House. So it's natural, I think, for the committee members to be members of our party. And is the members of the committee and the leaders would not like to be seen to be anti-leadership of the party in terms of the Senate President, the leader of the House, the Vice President, and the President. They wouldn't like to do that. So it is, I think the opposition has a problem because the majority of the members will have to support the leadership, of the country because they are from the same party.
Well, Mr. President, there are still areas of, I wouldn't call it dissent, I'd say maybe disagreements. And one clear case is the Electoral Amendment Bill, which you withheld assent. At the time the National Assembly passed it, the provisions particularly dealing with direct primaries for the political parties, many people said the Buhari we know will sign immediately because he sides with the people who should participate fully in electing their party leaders. But you withheld assent. Can you explain further why you took that decision?
Yeah, well, my explanation is that people should be given a choice that is direct, and then when they come together, you know, without necessarily going to the polls and so on. And I think there are three ways: direct, indirect, and consensus. So people should be given the option. If they wanted to go direct, let them go direct. If they want consensus, let's have them consensus. The important thing is to show Nigerians, wherever they are, that we respect them, that they are the ones that decide what to do, who to vote, under which party, that we do not allow anybody to raise an army of thugs and intimidate people and make them vote the way he wanted. That's our objective, and we hope Nigerians will appreciate it, that we respect them. We don't allow anybody, no matter how resourceful or influential the person is, in whichever party, you know, to raise an army of thugs and force his candidate on the constituencies.
Well, but some think that with direct primaries not being held, then maybe some big politicians, particularly governors of states, will hijack the process and determine who goes. Perhaps that was the consideration.
The governors were like me, we are all going, except for the few. But if they want to be kingmakers, that's where they will have a lot of problem. If they want to institute somebody must inherit them from their party or from elsewhere, then that's where they will have a lot of problem. But if they have free mind, just to make sure the system works, I think it will be cost effective. This is what I believe, and that's why people are trying to ask me, who do you want to succeed you? I say, no, I'm not a kingmaker. I tried 3 times, and the first time I said, God did, and God came.
Well, speaking of this, Mr. President, you say you're not a kingmaker, but in your party, the governing APC, you're considered as the leader of the party. So the question here is, the APC is going through tough times with regard to a convention that will elect its officials. And within the party, there's so much disagreement. Some people have even threatened that they would make sure it doesn't hold. What is your position on this?
My position is simple. I think I succeeded in trying to get my position understood, in the sense that I said we start from bottom upwards, from polling unit to ward, to local government, to state, and then to Abuja. So that the party, because I'm concerned about my party, the party in all constituencies, they will know that and their position coming up. And therefore, when they come to Abuja, they are likely to work together. There is no saying that there is no kingmaker from Abuja, take this. No constituency is being dictated upon. All constituencies are supposed to produce their leadership in our party. What other parties do is their own business. But we want to make sure that our party members understand that they are respected, no matter from polling unit, from ward to polling unit, or polling unit to ward, to local government, to state, and up to Abuja. So those who want to be elected at any level, let them work for it. Nobody is going to appoint anybody.
You see the current issues will be resolved and the convention will still go ahead?
Well, time, we have time frame. We have to work because the 4-year cycle is constitutional. It cannot be interfered by anybody. So if the party couldn't agree, then the opposition can take over. What did the PDP do? They thought that the opposition cannot come together, but when ACN, ANPP, CPC, ABGA came together, before PDP realized that they were off, they are still off. So they can see it.
All right, Mr. President, let's come back to the government. Your government has invested massively in infrastructure development, and some of these projects have already been delivered. How did you manage to do this in spite of the lean resources and COVID-19, which nobody expected?
I think I realize and I'm convinced that you cannot have a sustained development without infrastructure. Unless we have got the roads, the rail, and power, we'll be wasting our time. But when you get the roads, when the roads are quite good, people from the rural areas can move to the towns and go back, bring their food items or whatever, or come and buy and sell and so on. When you get the infrastructure, when you get the infrastructure right, the rail, then there will be less heavy trucks on the roads, and the roads will last longer, and you need less for their maintenance. When you have power, people will not be buying generators, so people will switch on. All we have to make sure that there is power available, and we improve security, and people will mind their own businesses. But when you don't have the infrastructure, when the roads are not good, when there is no rail, when there is no power, I am afraid you are pushing people too far.
Speaking of power, Mr. President, quite recently you appointed a new minister. Is that a sign that you were not pleased with the development of the power sector? I mean, electricity generation and distribution are still very problematic now.
Yes, well, I just have to try another member of cabinet that I thought really will understand being an engineer and appreciate our problem of power. Power is absolutely necessary to Nigeria. We are even thinking of Mambila and so on. The Ministry of Water Resources is doing his best, repairing the dams, trying to bring out the power part of them to be operational and so on. There's a lot of infrastructure that need to be rehabilitated so that we can make power available. When we make power available, then there will be less demand of petroleum products. There will be less problem for generators, which means there will be less need for foreign exchange to be importing machinery and so on. The linkages between having power and not having it are very clear for those who look at the national economy.
With respect to power generation, many Nigerians would like you to give them their word and that the power situation will improve.
Well, we have to try and see how can we do it. And luckily, technology is maybe coming to our rescue in terms of using solar. You see, conventional power, the lines, they are so costly and easily sabotaged. Remember, a number of lines are sabotaged in the northeast by Boko Haram and so on. But when it is, when we are using panels, solar panels, you can't cover the sun. So technology is coming to our rescue. I think we have a program of of investment and improvement on power generation, distribution throughout the country. And we know Nigerians, when you provide that, I think a lot of them will look after themselves.
Let's go back to the global pandemic which has hit the world. COVID-19, it continues to ravage the world, and now we have the variant Omicron. What is your government doing to develop the capacity within this country to be able to have local solutions to these challenges, like developing or producing vaccines, so we don't depend on the world, people who donate, and sometimes they donate vaccines which are close to expiry?
They are working very hard, working with the Ministry of Health to develop vaccine, as we mentioned. We are working very hard but we shouldn't make any noise about it until we succeed. This is the important thing. But we are doing something about it. But COVID-19 has no respect, I think, for power or technology. Otherwise, they wouldn't start with America and China. Who are we at the bottom of the ladder? It's a very mysterious development, and Nigeria is not doing badly. Under the secretary to the government, they are doing very well. They are all over the place, and encouraging people to take the inoculations and so on.
Well, Mr. President, we must thank you for speaking to us at this point, and I'd just like to take the opportunity to say Happy New Year to you.
Same to you. Thank you very much.